Okay, so in this lesson, we are going to be measuring angles again, but this time we're using the official tool for angle measuring, and this is called a protractor. A protractor shows you the degree of each angle. Now, when we're measuring, you've got your 90 on top to make your right angle. You're gonna line up your angle, the bottom of your line here, and you should get that little point of the angle inside this circle. So I don't know if you can see it, but there are little lines that help you line it up. If I move my hand, there you go. Little lines in here, and then that little dot is where the corner, the tip of that angle is gonna go. And then you use these degrees off to the side to measure it. Now you probably noticed that there are two sets and they go in different directions. That's because remember yesterday we talked about some angles open up this way and some angles open up that way. And it doesn't matter the way they open, you just need to measure them differently. So if they're opening this way, you use the bottom. And if they're opening this way, you'll use the top. If they're opening this way and they go all the way down, you still keep using the bottom, okay? So that's just the direction that they're facing is how you're measuring it. When we measure, we are gonna put our protractor up on the actual shape and we're gonna take a look at what we see here. So look at how I line it up. I've got my little point, I can see the point, and there's this little black line here, and I'm making sure I line it up with my line. Now, this is a big protractor. This is a small angle. This is a little bit tricky for me to see. So what I like to do is I'll get a ruler. I might grab like a little extra piece of paper, and I will take this and line it up with the line. And I can see that that is pointing to, it's covering up the 40. So that means it's before the 40. So I'm gonna say it's probably like 135. So this angle is 135 degrees. Now a good way to help you out here is you've got all these little lines right here. So if here is 30, that little line right there is probably going to, most likely, going to be 135. You can take a good guess at that. Now I've got my more open one. Again, I line it up, get that angle in there, make it straight so that the bottom line lines up with this black line. I'll take my card to help me out. And let's see here. And so this one, and because it's still opening up in this direction, I am going to be using the inside numbers to measure. So this one is at about, we're almost like 158 degrees. And so when I write that, I just write it as 158 degrees, just like that. So the next bit, it's asking you to actually draw it. So that can get a little bit trickier. So I'm going to show you how to do that. For number 3, it says 110 degrees. All right, well, I'm going to start by making a little dot and drawing my base because they always have a flat bottom. Then I'm going to put my protractor, line it up, put that dot inside, line up the line with there, and it says 110. So I'm going to find 110 on my protractor, which is right about here. I'm going to put a little dot. Well, then I just take my ruler and I connect the dots. Do I have to make it go all the way up to that dot? No. I can just do it like that. So yes, your paper will be covered in little dots, and that's okay. Just make sure that you connect it so that it looks pretty accurate. So if I were to try doing a 50-degree angle, again, take a line, put a dot, make my base, line up my protractor. I'm going to use a clear one this time. I feel like you could see it maybe a little bit better. So line it up, and I need it to be 50 degrees. So I'm going to find 50 degrees. There it is. And put a dot right next to 50 degrees. And that's what it's going to look like right now. It's kind of just weird random. Connect the dots. You don't have to go all the way to the dot. You want to give yourself some space to do other work. But that is a 50-degree angle. If I were asked to draw a 180-degree angle, how would I draw that? Just like boop, that. That's 80 degrees. And to show it, to prove it, I would put a little dot in the middle and that little circle. That shows that it's 180 and that this is meant to represent an angle. Okay? So measuring angles is not that bad. Remember, you're using your book, you're lining it up. If you see something like this, you are pretty sure what that one is. Just to be careful, line it up, get an index card, and yep, that's pointing right to 90. So this one, line it up. That is crazy small. Take my index card, I can line it up. If you don't have an index card, you can just use your pencil too. And that is like 11. So it takes a little practice. And it's hard to be super accurate when they're that small and you have this big of a protractor. That's why we use these tools to help us out. You can have an index card. They are plenty in this room for you to have access to. You can use your pencil. You can just use the side of your book. It's however you need to. And then remember, when we're drawing an angle, let's say I was going to draw a 125 degree angle. I start with a dot, make a straight line, line it up, find 125. Because I'm opening it up this way, I stay on the inside. So 110, 120, 125. There's my dot. Then I connect the dots, but I don't have to make it that big. I just want it to line up. And I go like about there. You can connect the dots, but the issue is, look at what your paper would look like if you start connecting the dots. You have like these crazy long angles and you don't get a lot of room. So the angle is not going to be any different if the line stops here or if the line stops here, because this is the part that you're looking for, okay? So don't worry about if you don't go all the way to the dot or if your dot goes like off the page like mine did here. Just make sure that it is the correct angle and that they've lined up, and then you can take it as far as you want or as short as you want. Alrighty? Go get them.